Okay, good evening, friends and family, and thank you for coming to another night with Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities. And tonight we have another podcast. Actually, it's a follow up from our conversation last week, and we were talking about.
Okay, good evening, friends and family.
Okay, let me get this
Thank
going
you for
on
coming
here.
to
I just
another
wanted to
night
make sure that
with
we were
Repair, Restore,
going live.
Community.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have an issue here in Chicago, and especially in our Black communities, with our taxes. Our property taxes are going up, and people are losing their homes. Rent is going up. People are not able to afford to stay in their apartments or to pay rent. This has become a problem for some property owners, and these taxes going up need to be addressed. Is it an issue of our value of our properties going up, or is it a tax rate issue? And what is all that based on? And these are some things that we're going to have to get to the heart of. And so tonight we have Anthony Travis, the tax doctor, on. And Anthony has been fighting this issue for quite some time. He has been fighting the issue of tax reform because the bulk of the funding of the public schools are on these property taxes, and they just keep raising the taxes and raising the taxes. And I don't know what we're getting out of this. So we have Anthony Travis here tonight. We have Terry Buddick and Audrey Pierce and Obi. And I believe one of our members or representatives here tonight is one of the individuals who found it necessary to be a part of taking out their taxes and setting them on fire to send a message to the mayor and the city council at large to let them know how unhappy they are with this. So I want to thank all of you for coming on tonight. First of all, Repair, Restore, Grow Black Communities, we're a nonprofit organization, and we work to enhance the awareness and support of Black-owned businesses in Chicago. That's our mission. And so this podcast is one leg to our organization, where we typically feature a Black business to talk about their business, to talk about how they got started, to talk about their challenges. We have many wonderful Black businesses here in Chicago. Some of them are a result of legacies where their parents owned an establishment and they took over. Generational wealth. That's really what should be happening. And so we give them an opportunity to come here and talk about their business, but we also address issues that are affecting our businesses, which affect the community at large. So that's why we have this podcast every week. And we want you to know that we are great supporters of our bookstores here in Chicago. We used to have 22 Black bookstores, and we were down to 2, but we do have a great resurgence of Black bookstores here in Chicago. So if you go to our website at rrgbc.org, we have those bookstores listed, and we want you to support them. I know you like to purchase your books on Amazon, but when you buy from our bookstores, those dollars, profits from those dollars are coming back into our community. And we also have some interesting reads in some of our bookstores. And we go a step further. We have a book giveaway, and we have a bookstore of the month. And our bookstore of the month is Afriware. Go to afriware.com. She no longer has the brick and mortar, but she has an online presence, and she also has an establishment in Oak Park where you can pick up books from her that are a special order. The book that we're giving away this month is the autobiography of Assata Shakur by Assata Shakur. So if you want to win a copy of that book, please go to rrgbc.org and subscribe. We pay for the book. We pay for the shipping. If necessary to you, we do ask that you go to the bookstore and purchase the book so you can see all of the books that they have to offer and support that store. Also, we support the Southside Community Federal Credit Union, who has been in our midst for over 20 years giving loans. And they have a lot of products to offer now. Small business loans, personal loans. If you want to even set up an account for one of your children or your grandchildren, if they're as young as 7 years old, they can establish an account. And they have a lot of financial literacy classes because a lot of us do not know how to manage our money. And so the Southside Community Federal Credit Union is there to help you. So we do ask that you support the Southside Community Federal Credit Union. They are located in the mall at 55th and Garfield. So please support the Southside Community Federal Credit Union. And then we ask you go to Save Black Bookstores Chicago at change.org and sign our petition because we want some dollars to go to our bookstores. It happens in other municipalities, and there's no reason why it can't happen here in Chicago. Okay, so thank you for listening to those announcements. So let's get on to our conversation that we're having tonight. So, Anthony, I'm going to let you start this conversation and definitely give each one of the representatives here an opportunity to speak in regards to this matter of our taxes.
But thank you, Denise, for doing such a great job in hosting your podcast. And thank you for highlighting the business sector. Because what we have to understand as Black folks, we need to be entrepreneurs. We need to be entrepreneurs. We need to open up businesses. And Obi is a former businessman. And if you understand anything about commerce, you go down 22nd, the Hispanics have what? They have commerce. You go to Lake Street and 19th Avenue in Melrose Park, the Hispanic have what? Commerce. You go to Orland Park, Tinley Park, white folks got what? They got commerce. Now, why is that so important? The reason you have businesses in your community is that they offset the property taxes that the homeowners have to pay. The more industry, the more businesses you got, the less property taxes taxpayers have to pay who own apartment buildings and who own homes. That's the backdrop. Now, what have gotten us to this point is the fact that downtown Chicago, the business community, have seen a falling off of folks renting their facilities. And when they lose that income, the value of their property drops. And as any well-minded business person would do, you go to the Cook County Assessor's Office, the Cook County Board of Appeal or Review, and you ask for some help. Those two bodies can give those folks some help by devaluing their property and cutting the taxes that they have to pay. But as taxpayers, we have to be educated enough to understand that when that burden is shifted, somebody's got to pick up their costs. Because when the units of government put out their tax levy, if John Doe get a tax cut of $1,000 or $1 million, the burden is shifted on everybody else. When senior citizens get a tax freeze, when veterans get a tax freeze, which means they pay no taxes, therefore that revenue has to be made up by everybody else. That is the state of affairs. Now, there is a flip side to all of this, and that is what happened in 1951, what happened in 1970, and what happened in December 16th, 1773. It is known as what? The Boston Tea Party. When the taxpayers of that era got fed up of being taxed without representation, they cried foul. They went to the Boston Harbor and they threw tea bags in the harbor to show their disdain with government. We are now in a crisis in Chicago, in Illinois, and around the country with this thing called property taxes. And because we are in such a crisis, people are losing their properties. There was a law written in 1951 by the tax investors. And the guy who helped draft this law, his thing was he didn't give a damn if you lost your property. Let me say that again. He was, because he died. He was a tax investor who helped write the law of 1951 that is still on the books in Illinois right now. And because of this law, Grandma Velma Lewis, who lived in Maywood, 2 years ago, she was 74 years old. She lost a $180,000 piece of property over $6,000. Folks, that's real. That's right. She lost $180,000 home over $6,000. And that was because of the law that was written in 1951. Now, in 1970, we had a constitutional convention. And at that convention, the section on education, those delegates could not agree upon holding the state responsible under Article 10, Section 1, education is free. Let me say that again. Article 10, Section 1, K to 12th grade education is free. And what that means is the state is responsible for funding of education. But what happened was our elected officials decided to pull a fast one. And that by the fact that the delegates could not agree on holding the state responsible, they kicked the can down the road. So here it is 55 years later. And when you got that second installment of your tax bills, your eyeballs popped out of your head. And you could not believe how high your taxes went up. Well, folks, it got so bad that the citizens on the west side decided that they would have their own version of the Boston Tea Party by burning them damn tax bills up. And even though it's symbolic, I don't blame them. And that's how we got to this point where Audrey, Jerry, and all the other folks part of your group did what y'all did. And you guys did what I consider a no man's job because you have shown us, and believe me, what you guys did have been seen all around the world. Let me repeat that because I saw on Fox Business, they replayed what you guys did on the West Side. They talked about it. So you guys done a fantastic job, and we're here to commend you and give you the opportunity to speak up and join this movement to overhaul the state for the greater good. We got to save our state. And in order to do that, we got to get the schools off the property tax system. And we got to understand we got to reform these units of government. And after making all that good information, Jerry, I'd like for you to speak up.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I don't know. Go ahead, Jerry.
My tax, I'm in the Lindale area. I'm right there at the Homan Square, right across the street from the Park District. My taxes has doubled. I used to have a business, a food service business, right in the Nichols Tower, right at the corner, right across from DRW. The rent was just too high, and I'm sure taxes had something to do with it.
Yes.
So what I'm here to say is that if we don't stick together with this, they're going to buy us out.
Yes.
They're going to buy us out. We don't have enough businesses here due to the taxes. And I would love to get another business. But right now, with my taxes, I can't afford it. And I need to know what should I do or what can I do to bring my taxes down. Has my property value gone up? I don't know. So my question is, where do we go from here?
Well, before I answer your questions, let Audrey, I would like for you to speak.
Okay, I actually was at the bonfire with several people, about maybe 60 more people, and I'm gonna say putting those taxes in that fire gave me some type of peace. Believe it or not, it just gave me some peace because I was really pissed off. Really pissed off when I seen how much my taxes have gone up. You know, we have held events. We have had Cook County assessor out, Cook County review out. And, you know, I mean, we've had over 100 and some people at events at one time, and it just don't seem like it did any good. You know, they have appealed their taxes. You know, they talked about the exemptions and all that, but it just seemed like it was just in vain. But I'm gonna keep on trying. I don't know. You know, I know it's power in people. Where Jerry lives at is a bunch of about 150 homeowners, correct, Jerry? In North Lawndale. Uh, so I'm trying to get as many homeowners as I can together and see if all of us as a group come out because they really hit North Lawndale really hard. You know, so if it's some type of solution that we can get to do or whatever, I'm all for it. You know, come up with some type of ideas what we can do to get our taxes lower and bring it to our politicians.
Okay.
Tax doctor, I want to ask a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it only North Lawndale? I know they went up 99%, and also the West Garfield area, they went up 133%. Why is it that with these two areas is the only two areas carrying, I think, this burden that we have with people leaving downtown?
Well,
Why is that?
it's not just the west side or the south side. It is places up north too now. The Pilsen community, Humboldt Park. Okay, all of these communities are now beginning to feel our pain. Obi and I have been hanging out in Pilsen with the Hispanic community. We have been going to them, educating them on these taxes. They're beginning to feel the pain that we have been feeling since the Great Migration. And we had one Hispanic man to tell us that black folk has arrived. We don't need no more help. Okay? That's how they feel. But we're here and we set them straight. No, we still catching hell. Okay? We have seen by the study of the University of Chicago, the Chicago Tribune, Jason Gratos, Dr. Christopher Berry, Professor, got his book up here. Hold on one second. Professor Andrew W. Carr wrote this book called The Black Tax. And folks, this situation is real. And we had a Speaker of the House named Mike Madigan, who stayed in power for 50 some years. And he spent his time blocking property tax reform. We, black folks, don't understand that our state have over 7,000 to 9,000 units of government that property taxes pay for. And we're the laughing stock of the country because we have a shrinking population, but yet we got all these units of government. People are leaving our state like crazy because they fed up. Now, Jerry, you asked a very important question. Where do we go from here? Well, we go from here by getting ourselves organized, educated, and Obi and I, we're veterans. Okay, we're Army people. We were trained to be soldiers. We were trained to kill people. Well, we want to kill these taxes. That's what we want to do. And in order to do this, we got to have an army of folks who have the same mindset that we have to overhaul the system that have been inherently racist in nature. And when you think about our state, going back to the 1800s, black folks couldn't walk the streets of Illinois. We got to be mindful of that. And then we gotta be mindful of the fact that racism reared its ugly head at the convention in 1970 and the educational section because they didn't want their money go to educate our children, our babies, and give our babies the same education that they want for their babies. Same thing with insurance. They don't want their money going to pay for insurance for us so we can be healthy and live a fruitful life. This is where racism and classism come in. And the only way to put an end to this, it goes back to being educated, understanding this system, and saying we had enough. Now, when you guys took that first initial step to start that bonfire, you guys sent a message to Springfield. Because that is how we're going to clean this mess up. Because we're going to hold these legislators responsible. Now,
Tax doctor, not to chime in right here.
go ahead.
It's like, we're in the middle of a war.
Yes, we are.
And when you're in the middle of a war, you have to have different ways and different strategies
Yes.
in terms of how you're going to deal with the situation. Because what's happened to our communities here in Chicago, we have been hit from all different directions.
Yes.
In terms of our schools, we got the schools is the largest segment of the budget for the taxes.
Yes.
But what do we have for that? What do we get for that?
Well,
how I'm just making a comment, actually not asking a question, but we're not getting anything. Our schools are not, whoever is getting the dollars are not putting these dollars into actually enhancing the education of our children, the facilities, the buildings, the education itself. Our businesses, we have more businesses coming into our community, but these businesses that have enhanced over the years are still owned by people who don't live in our community, namely the Arabs and the Koreans who come to our communities, and they've got all the big box stores and they got all the restaurants, and none of those dollars are coming back to us. So we're not getting anything for all these taxes. And I think one of the things that we need to be doing is we need to start appealing these taxes, and we need to start challenging the increase of our taxes on whether this is be due to an increase in the value of my property, or you just increasing the tax rate. And what are you increasing this on? What are you basing this on? And putting it in writing, showing up at these budget meetings and hearings and making these statements. And we can go back and do a historical run on what happens to Black communities when you start increasing the taxes and people start leaving the community. Other people start moving in.
right.
And when they move in, they don't care what's going on, how bad the neighborhood is. Actually, it seems like when they move in, nobody bothers them.
Gentrification is what
They
you're
can
talking
they can walk their dog down the street, and nobody's bothering them. And you scared looking this way and that way.
Right.
So you can ask yourself, what is really going on here? These are the kind of things that's got to be put in the face of these people, these politicians who say they want us to vote for them and they want us to represent them. What do we have? 19 representatives on the city council.
You have 20.
19 state reps. We have enough people there, but they're not representing us. And these are the kind of things that we need to go back historically. We can show this strategy that has been used to gentrify our neighborhoods over and over and over again. And that's really what's happening here.
Yes.
And
Well,
that needs to be put in their faces
absolutely.
verbally with physical presentation, something in writing, and we need to be challenging these taxes while we're also saying we need tax reform throughout this city. Because people up on the north side, every time I look up, I see a new building going up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Down there off the expressway on Orleans, there's a big construct development going on right there on the Chicago River. You know, they're just like Hyde Park. They don't have too many more places to build, so they're gonna have to come to our communities.
hmm Well,
Mhm.
let Obi weigh in because see, Obi is probably the oldest member on this podcast, and Obi have lived long enough to have seen all this stuff from start to right now. Go
Absolutely.
ahead and speak, Obi, to us. Give us some of your wisdom.
I'm listening to wisdom from all of you all. And the one thing that I keep hearing that we got to really pay attention to is create a strategy. You mentioned that I didn't hear you mention whether or not you told them that we have two bills in Springfield already to possibly address some of these issues. But also, we were told that we need to have a town hall meeting, and that's where we don't have enough people coming to the table to flood the our meetings so that our politicians can start paying attention. The other thing you mentioned something in reference to businesses. The reason they are building in other areas is because those people are getting business or bringing money to the table. You're not putting these politicians in office. They're putting these politicians in office. The HB1, I think that's called the HB1 program, where they allow the Arabs to come to the community. You and I need to get information on how that's done and how to make sure that they do what they're supposed to do, which is to build within the community, but also bring help raise the community level with hiring within the community. The other thing is that if you paid attention to my slogan, which is A to Z, follow the money, then our community is void of contracts. So somebody mentioned something about the budget. So we get the budget from every municipality and everywhere dollars are flowing. And we found out how much money is actually coming back to the Black community. And if we're not getting a piece of that, then we need to be marching, screaming, and hollering and shutting down those components until we get our fair share. We represent in Illinois, I don't know the total numbers, but in America, we represent 13 to 20% of the population. So whatever words that they use to nullify us, we need to start paying attention to the fact that we have a right to be there based on our population and our resources. And all of us, for whatever organizations we're part of, should start complaining, fighting, marching, and doing everything we can and shutting down, don't spend our money, etc. Now, I put out a card a few years ago, pardon me, that if you're not doing $5 million a year and hiring at least 30 employees, then Black people are not really making no money. That don't mean that an individual company or individual organization like a barbershop or a beauty shop, the owners can't come home making $200,000-300,000 a year, but they only hiring one or two people. We got to figure out how to make sure, like with the prison system, if my children are the ones that's in prison, then why in the heck is somebody else selling my children $1 million worth of chili in the prison system? So we're not getting none of the fair share out of the prison system. So we need to pay attention wherever there's a dollar, we get our piece so that we can take care of our children. And when we're talking about crime, if you're coming back to my community and you don't have no resources, then you're going to commit crime. So we have to start strategically joining with each other to become a large marching force with our dollars and any other way we possibly can so that we can get us off the economic power bottom. So our representatives will be able to represent us if we can put them in, but you're not putting them in. You give them a vote, but you can't keep them in because you don't have no money. So you and I got to strategically think about how we're going to do that. Lastly, we mentioned one of the other components that is causing us ill is that I got son-in-law and his wife was making a nice buck working for the government, really, and they decided because the taxes on the property was too expensive, they decided to take their pension and their retirement money and move to Vegas. So we're losing all the way around. So we have to start strategically from A to Z, wherever there's money, figure out how we make sure we get our piece. This is the last thing I must say. Every meeting that I go to, some of them put me out because when I get there and they told me, like one of our representatives put $90 million into Maywood. And I asked the mayor, where's my piece? And he told me, we're giving you 25%. Well, for contract. Well, my position, based on how I see it, if you're in my community, anybody else gets 25% and we get to 75%. So we got to change the message and the meaning. But we have the population, we have a right to demand our piece based on our population and resources. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you
Well,
for that, Obi. Go ahead.
and I'd like to comment behind that because I do know there were some groups of people that had put plan in place, and they actually presented it to the mayoral candidates in this last election, and they looked at the fact that we were 30% of the population and went through all the different areas in terms of education, in terms of safety, in terms of housing, in terms of health, all of the major facets of the government that we have, the transportation system, and so on and so forth, that we would get 30% of that.
But see, you mentioned one key thing that you mentioned that's got to change, in my opinion. You mentioned a organization. We need, now I use the circle. We need 360 organizations all at one time
Yeah.
fighting for our issue. Our churches, our lawyers, our doctors, our Indian chiefs. I
Yeah.
don't mention Indians because I don't say black and brown. I only talk about black folks. But everything, every component in our community need to be marching at the same time and not just one industry.
Right.
Yes. That's right. That you are absolutely right.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing from everybody is that, when the Arabs come or whoever, they come in our neighborhood, the government or whoever give them money to get started. So they
No, it's the other way around. What it is, and I can tell you that because I dealt with them.
Mhm.
Because I had a liquor store on the corner of Ogden and Central Park, and the
Okay.
Arabs bought me out. But in the meantime, what happens, there's a law on the books since 1912 that says if you're a foreigner and you got $100,000 or $500,000, you're allowed to come here and build within a depressed community. But theoretically, they're supposed to come here and hire me and you. So the Nigerians, we got to start relating to our African brothers too, because wherever you come from, if you look like me, you bring your money to my community and let's help build our community. So we just got to change our message throughout the whole
Okay, but
diaspora.
some type of way that we can protest that because that stuff is not being done. They just come there and they take care of their own.
It sure is.
Information, again, that's why I'm saying we need attacking the system from more than one organization. All of us, whatever your lane is, like my lane is following money from A to Z. So I got a particular lane that I would participate in that circle. So whatever your profession or your lane is, we need to put us together and fight the system.
Well, I
Yeah.
think we need to identify what lanes we need. What areas do we need people
We
to
need
be working
everything
in?
you touch, everything the black man touch is money.
But
So wherever it is,
we gotta identify exactly what those are, so we can ask when you
so
talking to
what do you
people.
like? What is Audrey? What is her profession? Anthony's taxes. Jerry, mine is following the money from A to Z. I go through everybody's budget. So I got a lane. So I'm saying let's put 360 of us from different perspectives in the room and come up with a plan to fight the system. So whatever you
Yeah.
in, I'm with that.
Yeah.
Let me say this, and I don't mean to get off track, but the other day I went to Peoria Packing House that just moved into our area. When I went in there, I did not see not one black
I'm gonna
in
give
there.
you something even better than that.
Not
I'm
one.
gonna give you something better than that. You buy Chinese food. I ain't gotta say no more.
Say no more. You're right. And I'm gonna tell you this, and not to get off track
That ain't
again,
off track.
they getting into soul food.
You talking about
They
economics.
yes, they getting into
Oh
soul
yeah,
food. They getting into
I
soul
ain't just
yeah.
food.
not getting into soul food.
Been in it.
The issue is everybody come. You don't now. This sounds negative, but you don't have a community. If you had a community, then you'd have resources and you'd have businesses. And like I mentioned to you, you don't have major corporations that's coming that we own because you and I are not fighting from everything that we touch. We got to come up with a strategy for that. Now I don't have the answer, but I know we don't need no more one leaders. So every time we look up, we got a one Martin Luther King, one Jesse Jackson, or one somebody else. No, I'm a leader. I got 3 people that follow me. So I don't know how many people you got follow you. But let's put our stuff in the pot and fight for our issue from A to Z.
Mhm.
Well,
But I was
Let me
saying,
say this. I'm sorry. Let me make one last point. We
yeah.
fought to now. I'm gonna bring in AI if you don't permit me to do this. But before I go there, we fought to work on jobs where they weren't hiring black people, and that was a Caucasian. How come we're not fighting? How come they ain't hiring me in the Chinese factory? How come we're not firing the Indian? Okay, now let me go to AI. But like I said, the prison system. My kids should the toothpaste. I should be selling the toothpaste to the prison system, so I got the money. But AI, here's something that is really. Now I done talked to 3 unions already. Some of them like this idea and some don't. But in the meantime, I asked them, how did unions get started and why? So I ain't gonna go through that, but all of us pretty much understand that it was corporations was taking advantage of the employees. AI, every time a corporation now benefits from AI, then the profit margin that they make should still be there, but the additional profit should be split among us.
Mhm.
And that's what we should start. And that's what I mentioned to the union. So if Amazon gets $100 and he's getting $25 for his profit, and the rest goes to his employees, and then he wind up getting $200 and he's still getting 25%, then part of that $200 now go to me and you, even if we don't have to go to work no more. Because we being replaced. And if you don't start paying me, I can't buy the products no way. And we can't buy no houses, we can't buy nothing. So AI is replacing me, and then I'm not splitting the profit. So we got to change the message because everybody else is changing the message. We must change the message too. Pardon me for I got trying to get over a cold, but thanks for listening to me.
Thank you.
Well, you make sense, a lot of sense. All I can say is if we got this power in people, we got to get as many people as we can on board. Just like you said, you know, we may not have no money, but we got power.
We
You
got
know what I'm
plenty
saying?
power.
Yeah.
Well, I know Tax Doctor has had some meetings at the libraries and have invited people to come to those meetings. And I think we need to start supporting him and can have these discussions about what all people are going to be able to do.
I appreciate that, Denise, because we got the Buffalo, we're veterans. We got the Buffalo Soldiers. We got the Black Cowboys. We got all these motorcycle clubs. And every time I talk to these different groups, they say they sang the same song. My taxes is too high. I can't afford my rent. I can't afford my mortgage. And I'm saying to everybody, we have to get organized, come together, take it to the streets. If 100,000,
Can you guys hear?
yes,
Yeah.
if 100,000 illegals can take to the streets, we should be able to go to the streets, go to our legislators' offices in their district and in Springfield, and send them the message. And let me put this on the record. Right now, the Democrats, the demos, they control the House with 78 votes. That's a supermajority. In the Senate, the demos control the Senate with 40 votes. That's a supermajority. In the House, all you need is 60 votes. In the Senate, all you need is 30 votes to pass any bill
Can you
you
hear me, Audrey?
Okay, just a second.
I can't hear you
Jerry,
guys.
Jerry, can you hear me? Jerry, can you hear me?
I guess you can. Can you hear me, Jerry?
Okay, because somehow we got Jerry on the main screen, and I don't know what she did.
But she's trying to fix it, I guess, while she's pushing her button.
Oh wow. Okay. Let's see if I can get her off. Second here. Okay, go ahead.
and so because we have all the votes that we need in Springfield, there is no reason why we can't fix what's wrong. Now, the Speaker of the House is my state rep. And he told me to my face in front of Obi, make me do what's right. I should not have to make you do what's right when black folks in your district are losing their property.
Who's that, Welch?
Yes, he's my state rep. Now,
well, I think what they're saying is we have to get behind and push.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why this podcast is so important. Now, we do have other folks. Wanda Carter that has we can call it a podcast. She has a show every Wednesday and Thursdays. We got other folks that have shows. We got Robert McKay on WVON every Sunday from 4 to 6 now. We got David Seaton at 3 o'clock on Fridays. He's a conservative. We got Kia Joaquin from WVON on Saturday nights from 7 to 10. We have to educate our people enough to get them to call these stations, call these talk shows, get on Facebook when they come on the air, and put your comments down. We have to do the things that Obi talked about. We got to change the message. Once we change the message, and these folks begin to see that we're organized and we ain't taking a BS no more, they gonna change. And we'll send a message to one or two of them. If you guys don't want to do what we want you to do, we're gonna vote you out of office. And somebody told me, matter of fact, two 3 people that told me we need to clean house. Folks, what we're going through is what California has gone through and what Detroit has gone through. And it's not a pretty picture. Therefore, we're going to have to do what Denise suggests. Get all of us behind the tax doctor and move this ship forward. Because until we begin to change the message, hold these folks accountable, nothing is going to change. Hear me when I say this, folks. No one should lose their property over taxes. No one. Your property taxes should be low enough so you can stay in your house to the day you want to sell it, or to the day you want to give it to your children, or to the day you die. And we can make that happen. We got 2 bills that was written down in Springfield. One is to consolidate school districts, and one is to have a study on what it would look like to have the state fund education through the general fund. Folks, it took Indiana 10 years to consolidate 900 and some school districts down to 400. In 2005, I'm going to take that back, probably 2009, they started funding their schools by way of the general fund. Now, what's the pushback to all this? The speaker don't support our 2 bills. That's number 1. Number 2, my state senator don't support consolidation. And then she said the budget is the problem. The president of the Senate, Obie and I was with him on Veterans Day out in River Grove at Gottlieb Hospital for a veterans program. Don Harmon said it's a tall order to get the schools off the property tax system. And then State Rep LaShawn Ford said to my face out in Olympia Field, it ain't gonna happen. And I had to remind him, my grandma, who was the mother of the church, always told us, with God, all things are possible. And for LaShawn to make that comment, and he's a man in real estate, it just threw me back. Because, like I tell most folks in real estate, I want to see y'all make money. But I also want to see y'all fighting with us to overhaul this system. Because, see, they don't care, most of them, if you lost your property. Because if you lose your property, they can come back behind you, sell your property again, make their $6,000 commission, and you know what? It's business as usual. Deja vu. And that's how they feel. And I'm not speaking mumbo jumbo. This is what I've been told by folks in the industry. We don't care if you lose your property. That means we're going to make another commission on the same property. But I'm here to say, as the tax doctor, we ain't going along with that madness. We want to put an end to the madness. So we got the Urban League we keep talking to. We already got the NAACP on that side. Matter of fact, the president of the NAACP FAR South Suburban chapter, because of what we've been doing, got a resolution written up because the NAACP is going to be in Chicago next year for their convention. And we need folks to volunteer to help them out. Okay, so we're going to be looking for folks out of North Lawndale to participate. We need the people
Okay.
of North Lawndale to join the West Side branch of the NAACP. But we got to even hold the NAACP feet to the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
we're 5 minutes to the top of the hour. I think what we've gotten out of this discussion is we're going to have to organize,
Yes.
and we're going to have to organize in ways that's going to be effective. I
Yes.
suggest that people who have not appealed their taxes start to look at that avenue, begin to appeal your taxes, begin to question, why did you increase my taxes? Because it's typically not just because your property value increased. So you want to make them show you why they increased your taxes. You want to challenge that. And then we need to be, as we heard from Obi, we need to be organized in different ways, because what happens is these people vote on policies,
Mm-hmm.
and they get these policies on the table, and those policies stay there for years, for decades. And we end up, and so then you have people who, like what you're saying, Anthony, to change this and say, oh, this has been going on for so long, this is so convoluted, oh, we can't change this. That is not true.
Yep.
And we need to be making an effort. I think the word boycott came up.
Yes.
Okay, maybe we need to boycott. I say we need to be supporting Black businesses.
Yes.
I'm tired of, if you don't do this, then I'm not going to support you. No, I need to be supporting my own businesses the way everybody else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just different ways that we can fight this battle. But when you call a meeting, and I think we should try to get our different people in our communities to come to this meeting and figure out what little ways, and everybody doesn't have to have a big thing. Our organization is very small, and everybody can do their little part. That's something I watched. I'm originally from the West Side, and I watched my grandparents and my great grandparents and they little organizations they had, and their little clubs that they had, and their little churches that they had, put their efforts together to make things happen. And so we don't always have to have the big. It can be a lot of smalls that are really making a move here. So if someone wants to have a last comment, and then I'll let you end, Anthony. This is the time.
Well, I would like for Audrey to give us some final thoughts, because we're going to need that Lawndale Army working with us. Go ahead, Audrey.
Well, that's what I was thinking all the time when I had mentioned that when I spoke about Home and Square where Jerry live at. They have 150 homeowners. Albany Park, I don't know how many they have, but I know those are the two big bulk of homeowners that's in our neighborhood. And
And
then,
how many people is that, Audrey, overall?
well, I don't know, Jerry, how many would you say Albany Park have?
Oh, well, that's a gated community. So, and I'm just assuming maybe about 50 to 75
Mm-hmm.
townhomes there. Those are townhomes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
And
you have about 150, Audrey?
Home and Square got about 150.
Exactly.
So
So they right together.
that's
I have spoke with
225 people right there.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I have spoke briefly with the president of Home and Square. And so I'm gonna try to see if I can get him on board, because we all got this situation. I'm a member of North Lawndale Homeowners Association.
Yes.
Where we did the bonfire.
Yes.
Um, and I'm gonna try to get more and more people and speak to my organization about this. Uh, December 1st, Michael Scott, the commissioner, he's supposed to have something about the taxes. online. He's supposed to be doing some. So I'm gonna see what he's talking about. He was also there at the bonfire as well.
Okay.
So only thing I can say is that it's just power and people, and this is something that all of us is being affected by.
Yes.
So, we new homes are being built over there, uh, to, LCDC, and one of the ladies said that there's supposed to be affordable housing. She said that her taxes was $6,200.
Wow.
No, but for affordable. Now, how is that affordable? And your taxes that it's like, you know, uh, and then I think it's unfair that we got to pick up the slack, and we don't have anything. We don't have any stores.
Mhm. Mhm.
And in the school district, what kind of schools do we have? I
That's
mean,
right.
Well,
uh,
you're talking about District 299.
I mean, but what are they teaching our kids? You understand what I'm saying? You
It could
know,
be a lot better than what it is, Audrey.
And I think what she's also, in indicating, you can increase taxes, and taxes can help a community. It can improve the schools. It can improve the facilities of the schools. It can create more businesses and give more resources to businesses in the community. And taxes can hurt a community. And
yeah,
right now, taxes
it
are
hurt.
hurting the
They
black
Yes.
community.
hurt our community.
That's what's
Mhm.
happening.
Well,
know,
So
let me put this out here to you, Audrey and Jerry.
Uh-huh.
Once you get those two groups organized together, and then we'll come out and speak to them and get them to join our army. We're the Citizen Advisory Coalition to Save Illinois.
Mhm.
It can be done. It will be done, and it must be done.
and
Right.
something
Okay.
else. I think, Anthony, you talk
Yes.
about the politicians. I don't think they understand.
They don't.
You know what I mean? They
They
talk,
don't.
they talk stuff, but I don't even think they understand what's going on.
They don't
They,
understand.
they are part of a system that is operating the way it's operating, and it's not operating in our best system,
I
in
have
our best
our
interest.
best interest.
They are just part of that system.
Yes.
yeah,
We're gonna
I,
have
I
to we're gonna have to end the show
Yes.
now. You are definitely welcome to come back here
please
again.
let us know.
Uh, absolutely. And to you got something else that we want to talk about, or we want to reach out some more people, however, whatever we can do to help you out.
Mhm.
But I want to thank you for coming tonight, for showing up.
Yeah. Thank you,
And
lady.
Thank you. Thank you
no,
for inviting me. Thank you. Audrey invited me. Yeah.
okay,
yeah,
absolutely. And
yeah,
tax doctor, thank you for doing what you're doing.
Yes.
Uh, we say support Black businesses. We have to support our businesses that we have out here. We have to look
yeah.
far and beyond. We got enough people out here selling soul food. We don't have to buy the soul food from other people,
Right.
you know.
From the
So,
Chinese.
you know,
Mhm.
yeah,
I
Well, let
wish
me
absolutely.
they
say,
would give us like they give those Arabs.
yeah.
Give
But
us some
let
help.
me say this. We need a total mind change though. We as
That's right.
blacks. We need a
That's right.
total mind change. We
That's right.
really do. We need to start coming out. We have to come out. Some of us will complain, but we will not come to some of the meetings.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, this is something that everybody should come out because it's affecting all of us.
Yeah.
That's
These
right.
taxes.
Yep.
And it's not
Yep.
going to get any better.
No,
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 it's not.
It's
No,
not
it's
going
not.
no,
to get any better.
No,
Okay.
it's
no,
not.
it's not.
So
Yeah.
So
thank you. Thank
keep
you,
us
family.
posted. Keep
Okay.
Audrey posted, and Audrey keep me posted. What's our next
Yeah.
step?
I'm glad Jerry
Hmm.
got on.
Yeah.
All
I was
right.
supposed to have another friend on. I think she couldn't get on there or something. She couldn't get in it or something
Yeah.
happened.
But we're going to keep in mind, ladies, we are going to be victorious.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
Going to
Yes,
be victorious.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Even if we have to move some of these mountains out of the way, known as public officials.
that's
Yes.
right. That's
Oh,
right.
yeah,
Okay,
That's
exactly.
right.
family. Well, go to rrgbc.org. You can watch this podcast again or pass it on to some of your friends. You can also support our community here with a donation. Support our bookstores and support Southside Community Federal Credit Union. But most of all, support Black businesses and have a good holiday and a gathering of minds and love with your family and your friends for this holiday coming up tomorrow.
You guys have a safe
ladies.
holiday.
God
Thank you.
be with you.
All
All
right.
right.
You guys
You
have a
all as
safe
well.
holiday.